All right, welcome everybody. What we're going to do today, we're going to talk a little bit about obviously the market volatility, the ups and downs. Oftentimes, we're going to have to timestamp the podcast because things can happen so quickly. Today, markets were up pretty big in the morning. Futures were up over 600. Now I think they've cut it back down in half. Where it's going to end up at the end of the day, I don't know. You saw what the markets did yesterday, what they did on Friday. We're going to get into all of that. We're also going to talk today about China. Again, I know we've been focusing on this. A lot of interesting stories coming out of China. I've been following this for many, many years. And they've gotten to a point in time where it seems like they're going to be making a choice. It's that old thing, you can't get a little bit pregnant. Well, again, they tried to get a little bit capitalist, and now they've got a guy in charge that wants to go down the ideological route and what that means. We're also going to talk a little bit about the failures of ESG investing and actually what you can take away from the stupidity of what these government diktats are doing to corporations and investment funds. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about inflation. And we're also going to talk about leadership around the globe or lack thereof. All right, let's get into it. The volatility. Yep. Think about it. This is a sporting event that I'll never forget watching it. And I was young. 1980 Wimbledon. Again, I try to explain this to my kids and how back in the day we only had 4 stations, and major sporting events would come on, ABC, Wide World of Sports. Maybe you'd get one ball game a week, whatever it may be. Wimbledon was always on, and I never forget that 1980 Wimbledon match between Bjorn and John McEnroe. And in my opinion, those are the heyday of tennis. I like the long rallies and the running around. I'm not a big fan of the 140. I don't know how fast they hit their serves now, 140, 150 miles an hour. I'm not a big fan of the ace after ace after ace. But anyway, look at the volatility. It's back and forth. It's back and forth. It's very, very difficult to get your arms around all of this. Now we've had a litany of bank earnings come out, and they've been pretty good. The CEOs of these companies, you got Brian Moynihan from Bank of America. He presents. They're all presenting, in essence, almost the same thing in a different way. They're all saying, you know what? Bad stuff can happen. Guess what? Bad stuff can always happen. I have yet to ever hear. You ever hear a bank CEO or anybody who is a good risk manager that doesn't take that into account? That doesn't take that thinks that they've got it all figured out, that they know exactly what's going to be happening down the road. People who do that are horrible risk managers. And these are people you don't want to do business with. Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan talked about, there's hurricanes out there. Well, you know what? There are. And you've got to be paying attention, but there are always hurricanes. The hubris of human beings thinking that, the coast is clear and everything is going to be awesome. No, until it's not. And you should always be prepared for a downturn. And in essence, they're all saying it. They're just saying it in a different way. But these are things that we know already. What does this mean for you? I was thinking about this today. I said, what does this mean for you as an individual investor? What should you do? Now, each and every one of you out there is that you're all unique and different. You are unique and different. There's not another investor like you on the planet. I know it's kind of cliche-ish, the old, everyone's a snowflake and everyone's different. No, okay. Everyone's situation is unique and different. We all know this. And it's all dependent upon where you are. And the guy that you're working with, the young lady that you're, whoever it may be, okay, you guys got to get on the same page and understand where you are, where you want to be, when you need to have access to these funds. I'm going to bring myself into this. Money that I'm putting away for, I don't plan on retiring. Okay, but I don't really plan for things like this. I prepare for life. Talk about that all the time. Not so much plan, but prepare for life. Prepare for uncertain things to occur. Prepare for various different opportunities to present themselves. Who knows? At this point in time, I don't feel like that I'll ever retire. But anyway, I've got my retirement accounts. We have 401ks at Markowski Investments. Do you think that I give a rat's ass I've got high quality companies in my portfolio. You think that I care that Apple's off the highs this year, that J&J is off the highs this year? No, do you think I care? Does it matter to me? No. It doesn't change my life at all. It changes your life when you have to sell stocks, when you have to get rid of things in your portfolio in order to live on. And that's not something you should be doing. You need to have a buffer amount of assets that are in risk-free investments. Must have. That is the right way of doing things. I have, and I mentioned this before here on the program, the money set aside for my kids' college education. My youngest is going to be going to college in less than 2 years. I have one that's there already. I have one that's going next year. The money that I put aside to pay for their degrees, I have in cash and cash equivalents. I don't look at the markets. And again, okay, I've been doing this a long time. I don't look at, gee, boy, oh boy, Apple certainly looks cheap here. Maybe I'll take the kids' college fund and put it into that. Why? Because I don't know what I don't know. As great as Apple may be, guess what? Like Forrest Gump said, shit happens sometimes. It does. So I'm not willing. Am I willing to take risk on, a certain amount of risk on with money that I'm not going to utilize for decades? Yes. But for money that I'm going to need over the short term? No. I want to discuss this too. We call it the what if game. Various different managers out there, they come out and give predictions what they see happening over the next 10 years. I'm going to take one. This guy's been a good money manager for a very long period of time. He's had his rough years, that's for sure. He took a beating during the whole .com run up. But everybody's familiar. Most people should be familiar with Stanley Druckenmiller. And he put out the idea that he thinks that it could be possibility. Again, they never go exact on this, that the S&P 500 could be around 4,000 10 years from now. And he talks about all of the debt that's sloshing around the globe and the issues when it comes to growth. What if Stanley's right? What if he's right? Can your portfolio handle something like that? I know ours can. And again, this is one of the things that we encourage you to do, is to do your homework. Get to our website at watchdogonwallstreet.com. You get there, you can take a look. Some of the portfolios, what we've been doing, how we've been performing, how are we handling all of this? How you go about dealing with periods of time. We have our Alpha Lock portfolios you'd like to take a look at. Go ahead. All the information, absolutely free. Get to our website at watchdogonwallstreet.com and check it out. Not to mention the fact, I might be watching this on Facebook or YouTube or whatever it may be, whatever. Listen, sign up for our podcast. You can do it on Apple, do it all sorts of places. You can do it at our website. But make sure you're staying in tune with what we have going on here. Again, podcast, daily, Monday through Friday, but we also have our nationally syndicated program that we put up there as well. All right. Big Trouble, Little China. Remember that movie? It was Kurt Russell, 1980s, Big Trouble in Little China. Xi Jinping's ideological ambition challenges China's economic prospects. Yeah, this is a lengthy Wall Street Journal piece today, and many economists all of a sudden predicting slower growth because of Communist Party control. Oh, I don't know. Was it see I told you so moment? I don't know. 10 million here on the program. I don't know. We've been talking about this for a long period of time. A lot of people out there, great fear of China, what they're doing, how they're controlling things. Yeah. Okay. They made some serious leaps and bounds by, again, pirating a lot of stuff. Let's be honest. Industrial espionage. It doesn't have to be industrial espionage. The desire for American companies to get into that market and giving away their secret sauce in order to do it. Short-term gain. That's it. Need that gratification right away. And it was a mistake. It's a mistake. But again, talk about oil and water not mixing. And I mentioned you can't get a little bit pregnant. Capitalism and communism just don't mix. And right now, some of the things that he has been pushing and doing is a real hit to their private sector. Again, you see when the government gets involved, it doesn't, not just here in the United States, most certainly there. They've got more command and control than we have here in the United States. Getting involved in the property sector. I talked about Evergrande and all of these property companies there that are, it's a mess. It's a mess. It really is. So again, you got the prospects of slower growth. There's other aspects that we've talked about before here on the program, the demographics of China. That one-child policy is catching up with them. They're going to have some serious population declines in that country as big as they are. We talked about how India is, the opposite of that at that point in time. This is going to hurt their economic growth. China, again, usually they just put out what Donnie Brasco said is a fugazi. It's a fugazi. Remember that? Lucky comes in. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Look at this, friend. Look at this picture. It's just a beautiful thing. Tells him it's a fugazi, and he gets all upset. It's fake. China's been pumping out fake numbers for ages now, and now they're just deciding not to pump anything out. That's how bad they are. Yeah, they're delaying indefinitely the release of their GDP and other economic statistics. Why? Because they suck. I think that they know that they're so bad. Yeah, you got to think about all the COVID lockdowns that they've gone through over there. They've got to be so bad that, again, it will hurt Xi Jinping's coronation to be supreme commie of China. Not to mention it'd be embarrassing for them. There was a meeting that was scheduled as well, supposedly trying to get Xi Jinping and Biden to meet at the G20. They're saying that that's fallen apart because of some of the things that the United States wants to talk about and some of the things that they want to talk about. Listen, I'm always for an open line of communication. I'm being honest here, people. Okay. I don't care which side of the coin. Come on. You can't tell me you have confidence in Joe Biden negotiating with world leaders at this point in time. Okay. They try to sell us that bill of goods. Tom Friedman, New York Times guys try to tell us what a wonderful job Biden was doing because this whole Ukraine situation. Come on, people, give me a break. It's serious. You can't actually believe that he's going to be able to handle this. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit about Biden later. What does this all mean? What's going on with China? It's going to affect where money is going to flow. Investments here, investments abroad. When I talk about investments here, again, offers up the opportunity. We're starting to see some changes. Some of the chips that were going to be made in China are going to be made somewhere else. Certain items are going to be moved off to other areas in Asia. Again, offers up an enormous opportunity for us here in the United States to actually invest and grow our manufacturing base and supply chain here. I've talked about this before. I for the life of me, for a country that spends as much as we do, close to $1 trillion a year on our military, to have a component that goes into some of our most advanced pieces of weaponry and technology made on an island off the coast of China it's just so stupid. You can't. It's hard to get your arms around. It really is. It's just hard to get your arms around. It's so stupid. You don't remember that game Risk where you had to like put your armies here and everywhere and think up strategy? But I mean, come on. I mean, how dumb can we be? No, these are things that are very important and they should be made at home. And hopefully we're going to get that. And again, they talk about the CHIPS Act that Biden pushed through, which I wasn't a fan of. Wasn't a fan of at all. You could say, hey, listen, okay, you can't transfer certain technology to certain places. You can pull back on that and force them back here. But I'm not a fan of handing these companies money. And then we all know what happens is that whoever's in charge of Congress at that point in time gets to put these brand new factories paid by you and I, the taxpayer, in their district or their state. Our military. Again, it was a big story today. Ties into this, talking about our growing weakness. Again, the Heritage Foundation put out a report saying that our military is weakening, in particular, our Navy and our Air Force at this point in time. And again, the Wall Street Journal has never met, defense increases that spending increases that it hasn't liked. They're complaining that a lot of the things have not been adjusted to inflation. Again, we spend over, close to $900 billion a year. We spend more than the next 6 countries behind us combined. You mean to tell me that you can't make it work on that type of a budget? You really can't make it happen. I find it ridiculous. I really do. But can you imagine the amount of middlemen that are involved in defense procurement contracts, from lobbyists and politicians, and who gets what, and the upcharges on these things? I mean, we remember back in the day talking about the Army with the $500 hammers and whatnot. You think that that's changed? It's only gotten worse. Okay? I got an idea. Why don't you do more with less? I'm just saying. Why not just do more with less? Not to mention, in this piece, it talks about it. We're not going to have the ability to fight a war in the Middle East and a war in Asia at the same time. And it made me think of from The Princess Bride. Remember Vizzini there, the Sicilian, there, the poison, inconceivable? Remember him saying, what did he say about things that are known? Just don't engage in a land war in Asia. Just saying. Might not want to do that. But 2 fronts here? We're talking about a war in the Middle East? Well, why do we always have to be, again, these wars here? I mean, we haven't won one in quite some period of time. You want to say that, gee whiz, I don't know, was Iraq a win? I don't know. I don't know. What do we win? What, Afghanistan, war on terror. I don't know. It would seem to me that we'd be much better served focusing on strengthening our country here and our economy here. I think that would be a much better route. I know everybody thinks we need to project all over the globe. I think we need to be pulling back, quite honestly. Anyway, Anyway, moving on. ESG investing. There was a Wall Street Journal editorial today. Terrence Keeley is the author. He is he's an author, Sustainable, Moving Beyond ESG to Impact Investing. And he makes an interesting point in his column. He's talking about how companies, he's saying that there's some merit, for companies to go green. And he was saying the valuation sometimes of these companies can increase by 300 basis points by doing that. But why wouldn't you want to invest in the companies that haven't fully gone green because they haven't seen that 300 basis point bump yet, which makes perfect sense. The entire concept of buying low and selling high. But again, any sort of mandate, any sort of government dictate, and we've talked about, it's not just ESG now, this is always the case. It doesn't work. If you allow money to flow, you allow it to flow, the free flow of money, okay, it will go to good ideas. It will find a way. At some way, shape, matter, or form, it's going to happen. When the government tries to point it to, it's what China does. We need to invest here. We need you to put up a high-speed train in California. How's that working out? Think about the amount of waste, the billions upon billions upon billions upon billions of dollars that has been wasted on that train since 2010 that's still not running. Again, if it was such a freaking good idea, if it was such a great idea, if it really made sense, people would get behind it. It would get funded. But no, that's not what happens. And again, this is what happens when government gets involved. And I've talked about this for years in regards to talk about sustainable energy and green technology, whatever how you want to call it. Okay, that stuff is inevitable. Since I was a young kid, people wanted to get more efficient appliances. You want to save money on energy, all of these things. Why wouldn't you want to do that? It makes sense. It makes you more productive. It can make you wealthier, right? But you have to get there. And when you force funds and you force money in a certain direction, you crowd out oftentimes things that are better. I'm trying to make sense out of this. If you'd say you're a venture capitalist and you want to invest in some sort of new technology, what are the two technologies? Electric cars and there's hydrogen. Let's say that they come up with some other hybrid electric hydrogen. I don't know. They come up with something. But there's been so much money already invested in these other technologies by the government. The government's made rules around this stuff. You're crowded out. You're not going to get funding. You're not going to get funding because they're going to say, hey, how are you going to compete against government? They can print their own dollars, right? They make the rules and laws. They can build moats around industries and protect them. Anyway, again, avoid it. Avoid all of the current ESG nonsense. They're doing it wrong. Okay. I saw this today. This was great. It's great. It was a great example. It's a great, quick article. Why smartphones are getting cheaper while everything else is skyrocketing, according to the government. Now, you and I, we go to buy a smartphone. You go now. I think the replacement, I have an iPhone 13. I have an iPhone 13, and if I want to get an iPhone 14, what are they? $1,400, $1,500, something like that. $1,400, $1,500. I can't remember what I spent on this last year. Maybe it was $1,100. I don't know. I can't remember. Now, you and I think, so wait a second. They're saying smartphones are getting cheaper? Yes, they are. In that magical CPI report that they put out, they're saying, yes, the CPI is saying, because, I'm not making this up, because the smartphones have gotten better. They've gotten better. You're getting more for your money. Essentially, they're getting cheaper, even though they cost us more money. This is your government. This is how they operate. Honestly, what is the difference between my iPhone 13 and the iPhone 14? I guess the camera's a little better. There's a couple things here and there. Does it justify it? How many people do you think went out and up? How many people? I love the numbers. How many people do you think went from an iPhone 13 to an iPhone 14? But it's not that big of a number. Listen, I'd upgrade if it really, I don't know if it made maybe great fries or something like that. Who knows? But it's really the same freaking phone with the same freaking operating system. Yet the government's recording, nope, the phones are getting cheaper, even though you're spending more money. Holy Obi-Wan Kenobi, these are not the droids you're looking for. This is the crap that they keep shoveling at us. And again, this is my problem with government numbers when it comes to inflation. Okay. We all know what we are freaking spending. We are. Okay. I moved into this house almost 2 years ago. Got a nice TV for our living room. The ones that came out this year are way better. The technology just continues to improve. I wouldn't say way better, but better. Am I going to throw out my TV that I have that works perfectly fine, that looks great, to get another one? No freaking way. Could I buy my television that I got 2 years ago cheaper today? Sure, I could. Is that really deflationary? I mean, sure, you can get older models, the same thing. It provides the same service. But this is the BS. The only thing that matters when it comes to inflation, period, the end, are things that we need to live on. And we all know that stuff's going up. We all know the price of things that we need to live on are going up. Necessity. You want to even throw healthcare in there as well. Those things are going up. And that's the issue. And the Federal Reserve can't do a damn thing about it. Anyway, there was a great actor. Again, I've talked about him before. Actually, his character in Wall Street, Lou Manheim, and Hal Holbrook. Hal Holbrook played a really great role in a television series that I really liked. Sons of Anarchy. Yes, the bikers. I liked the show about I did. It was a good show. I enjoyed it. The acting was great. It was well written. I've never been on a motorcycle. They scare me, but it was a cool show. And Hal Holbrook played a part there, and he was one of the characters, lead characters, fathers in this, and did a great job portraying somebody who was starting to be stricken with dementia. And that's something that I've gone through with people that I love in my life. And I'm starting, and again, it was early signs for Hal Holbrook in the movie. He was doing some things that were off the beaten path, but some of the things, I'm sorry, that are coming out of the president's mouth at this point in time they're just so ridiculous. I mean, gas price always been $7, and he's trying to tell everybody how to run their economy when things are falling apart here. We all know it. When it comes to our lifestyle, you take a look at the markets, the volatility, inflation, everything that's going on. For crying out loud, he was giving a speech. He was talking about tax breaks on coffee machines, for crying out loud. And how we're going to all benefit and save money by going out and getting ourselves a new coffee machine, a new green coffee machine. there was word out there. You think I take any? The difference is there's certain people out there that take kind of pleasure in this stuff. I don't. Okay. Do I have to point it out from time to time? Yes, I do. Do I like to? No. No, I don't. I'd much rather have a commander in chief that I wasn't worried about when it comes to their mental capacity. And I'm sorry, you could be as blue, strident them. Don't tell me you're not. You can't tell me that you're not concerned. If not, you're just not paying attention. One last quick political story. Do you remember? Actually, another sub reference today. Do you remember? I used to be a huge Saturday Night Live fan. Huge. I haven't watched it really in years. So maybe a skit from time to time that somebody points out. This was late, or no, excuse me. Yeah. No, I'm wrong. Early 1990s. Mike Myers did a show kind of making fun of some West German avant-garde television show. And he played this character, Dieter. Hello, Dieter. I am Dieter, and this is Sprockets. And it was great stuff, funny stuff. I'm sorry. Whenever I see these European leaders, in particular, these fools out of Germany, I think of Dieter from Sprockets. Well, Chancellor Dieter from Sprockets has said, well, you know what? We're going to keep our nuclear power plants open. Guess what? Greta Thunberg. That's right. Greta Thunberg, one of the most powerful people in Europe, declared and decreed that it was okay to keep the nuclear power plants open. She was vehemently against it, but now she's come around, and Dieter from Sprockets, Chancellor Dieter, says it's okay. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Quick reminder, again, become a part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family as we continue to grow. Sign up for our podcast. Check out our YouTube videos. Get to our website, watchdogonwallstreet.com. That's watchdogonwallstreet.com, or give us a call, 800-471-5984. Have a great day.